The air crackled with an eerie static as Naruto Uzumaki sprinted through the dense forest of the Land of Fire, his sandals kicking up leaves in his wake. The normally vibrant landscape was bathed in an unnatural twilight, the sky streaked with swirling hues of violet and crimson, a telltale sign of the infinite Tsukuyomi's influence. But something was off. This wasn't the genjutsu he remembered from the Fourth Great Ninja War. The trees whispered distorted voices, fragmented echoes of people he knew, Sasuke, Sakura, even Kurama, but their words were garbled, as if transmitted through a broken radio signal. Naruto skidded to a halt, his cerulean eyes narrowing as he sensed a presence behind him. A figure emerged from the shadows, their form flickering like a poorly tuned broadcast. "Who the hell are you?" Naruto demanded, his fingers twitching toward a kunai. The figure didn't answer. Instead, their body contorted, limbs stretching unnaturally before lunging at him with a speed that blurred the air. Naruto barely dodged, the enemy's clawed fingers grazing his cheek, drawing a thin line of blood. He retaliated with a spinning kick, but his foot phased right through the attacker as if they were made of static. "TCH, not solid?" Naruto muttered, flipping backward to create distance. The figure's laughter crackled like interference, their voice a disjointed chorus of familiar tones. "You can't fight what you can't touch, Uzumaki," they taunted. Naruto's jaw tightened. If taijutsu was useless, he'd have to try something else. He formed a quick hand seal, channeling chakra into his palm. Rasengan. The spiraling sphere of energy roared to life, and he thrust it forward. This time, the attack connected, but instead of sending the enemy flying, the Rasengan distorted, its energy absorbed into the figure's body like a signal being swallowed by static. Naruto's eyes widened. "What the?" Before he could react, the figure's arm elongated, wrapping around his wrist like a tendril of electricity. Pain seared through his nerves, his muscles locking up as if his very chakra was being scrambled. Gritting his teeth, Naruto forced himself to focus. "Kurama, I need backup." He growled internally. But for the first time in years, there was no response, just silence, as if the nine tails had been muted. The figure leaned in, their face now a shifting mosaic of every person Naruto had ever fought. "You're trapped in a frequency, Hokage," they hissed. "A cursed signal where even the infinite Tsukuyomi bends to my will." Naruto's stomach dropped. This wasn't just an illusion, it was something worse. A prison woven from distorted chakra waves, where reality itself was unstable. Summoning every ounce of strength, Naruto roared, his body erupting in a surge of golden chakra. The Kyuubi's cloak flared around him, forcing the figure to recoil. "I don't care what kind of messed up genjutsu this is," he snarled, his voice echoing with power. "I'll break through it like I always do." His fists ignited with blazing energy as he launched a flurry of punches, each strike rippling the air like a disrupted transmission. The figure staggered, their form flickering wildly, but they weren't done yet. With a screech like feedback, their bodies split into multiple copies, each one a warped reflection of Naruto's past foes, Neji, Pain, even Kaguya, all distorted by the same cursed signal. They attacked in unison, their movements erratic, impossible to predict. Naruto dodged a razor-sharp chakra blade, countered with a spinning heel kick that shattered one clone into static, but another seized the opening, driving a knee into his ribs. The impact sent him skidding across the ground, his cloak flickering. He spat out dirt, his mind racing. If this enemy fed off his attacks, he needed a different approach. Closing his eyes, he reached deep within himself, past the silence where Kurama should have been, and grasped at the raw, untamed chakra of his Uzumaki lineage. His markings darkened, his pupils sharpening into slits as he entered sage mode. The natural energy sharpened his senses, and for the first time, he saw it, the faint, pulsing thread of chakra connecting the figure to the sky, to the twisted Tsukuyomi above. "So that's your weak point," Naruto muttered. He clapped his hands together, gathering sage chakra into a massive Rasen shuriken. The whirling disc hummed with power, its edges vibrating at a frequency that made the very air tremble. With a battle cry, he hurled it skyward, aiming not at the figure, but at the thread tethering them to the illusion. The Rasen shuriken struck true, severing the connection with a deafening screech of feedback. The figure writhed, their form dissolving into static snow before vanishing entirely. For a moment, the forest fell silent. Then, the ground beneath Naruto's feet shuddered, the trees warping like a corrupted image. A voice, deep and resonant, echoed from everywhere and nowhere at once. "You've only scratched the surface, child of prophecy." The sky split open, revealing a colossal eye, an eye that wasn't the moon, but something far more sinister. A radio tower, pulsating with cursed chakra, its signal stretching across the entire world. Naruto's fists clenched. Whatever this was, it wasn't just targeting him. It was hijacking the infinite Tsukuyomi itself, turning dreams into nightmares. And if he didn't find a way to stop it, everyone trapped in the genjutsu would be lost forever, their minds broadcast into oblivion. The air crackled with tension as Naruto skidded to a halt, his breath ragged, the cursed radio signal pulsing around him like a living nightmare. The twisted landscape of the infinite Tsukuyomi warped under the eerie frequency, distorting reality itself. His fists clenched, knuckles white, as he faced his opponent, a shadowy doppelganger of himself, its eyes gleaming with the same malevolent energy that fueled the cursed signal. "You think you can beat me with my own moves?" Naruto growled, his voice laced with defiance. The clone smirked, shifting into a familiar stance, the Rasengan swirling to life in its palm. Naruto didn't hesitate. He lunged, his body a blur of orange and blue, meeting his clone head-on in a devastating clash of spiraling energy. The impact sent shockwaves ripping through the illusionary world, debris scattering like shrapnel. But the clone was relentless, pivoting midair to deliver a crushing roundhouse kick. Naruto barely blocked it, his arms trembling under the force, but he gritted his teeth and retaliated with a sudden burst of Kurama's chakra. Golden flames erupted around him, his whisker marks darkening as he pushed past his limits. "I won't lose to myself," he roared, driving a fist into the clone's gut, sending it skidding back. Nearby, Sasuke's Sharingan spun wildly as he parried a barrage of kunai thrown by his own twisted reflection. The clone moved with eerie precision, predicting his every move, until Sasuke's Rinnegan flared. "You're just a cheap imitation," he muttered, swapping places with a nearby rock in an instant. The clone stumbled, disoriented, and Sasuke seized the opening, his Chidori screeching to life. Lightning crackled as he drove it straight through the clone's chest, but instead of dissipating, the clone grinned, its body morphing into black tendrils that lashed out like whips. Sasuke barely dodged, a thin line of blood streaking his cheek. "TCH. Adapting, are we?" He wiped the blood away, his eyes narrowing. "Fine. Let's see how you handle this." His Susanoo erupted around him, skeletal at first, then rapidly forming into its armored perfection. The clone mirrored him, its own Susanoo rising, but Sasuke was already moving, his sword of condensed chakra slashing downward with devastating force. Sakura, meanwhile, was locked in a brutal exchange of blows with her illusionary counterpart, each punch cratering the ground beneath them. The clone was just as strong, just as fast, but Sakura's fists burned with resolve. "You might have my strength," she spat, ducking under a haymaker, "but you don't have my will." She channeled chakra into her feet, launching herself upward before driving a devastating axe kick into the clone's shoulder. The impact shattered the earth beneath them, but the clone twisted mid-fall, flipping backward to regain its footing. Sakura didn't let up. With a battle cry, she activated her Byakugan seal, the intricate markings spreading across her forehead as her power surged. The clone's eyes widened, just before Sakura's fist connected with its jaw, sending it flying through a crumbling pillar. The battlefield was chaos, each of them pushed to their absolute limits, but the cursed signal only grew stronger, its frequency warping the very air. Naruto could feel it gnawing at his mind, whispering doubts, feeding on his fear. He shook his head violently, forcing himself to focus. "We can't keep this up forever," he shouted to his teammates. Sasuke, panting, nodded. "We need to break the signal's source. Whatever's amplifying it, destroy that, and this ends." Sakura wiped sweat from her brow. "Then let's find it. Fast." But before they could move, the ground beneath them trembled. A monstrous figure emerged from the distorted horizon, a grotesque fusion of all their worst nightmares, its body writhing with cursed energy. Naruto's stomach dropped. "You've got to be kidding me." The abomination roared, its voice a cacophony of their own screams, and lunged. This was it. The final push. Naruto's nine tails cloak blazed brighter than ever as he charged, Sasuke's Susanoo wielding its colossal sword, Sakura's fists crackling with raw power. The clash was cataclysmic, light, sound, and fury colliding in a maelstrom of destruction. Naruto weaved through the creature's attacks, landing blow after blow, but its flesh regenerated instantly. Sasuke's Amaterasu flames engulfed it, yet the cursed energy snuffed them out. Sakura's punches shattered its limbs, only for them to reform. They were running out of time. Out of options. Then, Naruto's eyes met Sasuke's, and in that split second, they understood. No words needed. Sasuke's Rinnegan pulsed as he raised a hand, and Naruto felt the familiar pull of their combined power. "Now!" Sasuke barked. In a flash, they switched places, Naruto appearing above the beast with a Rasen Shuriken already spinning in his palm. At the same time, Sasuke's perfect Susanoo unleashed a devastating slash, carving deep into the creature's torso. Sakura, seizing the moment, leapt high, her fist glowing with concentrated chakra. "This ends here!" she screamed, driving her punch straight into the beast's core. The explosion of energy was blinding. The cursed signal shrieked, its frequency fracturing, and then, silence. Panting, bleeding, but unbroken, the three stood amidst the wreckage of the illusion as it crumbled around them. The radio signal's hold was broken. But as the dust settled, a single, ominous whisper lingered in the air, hinting at something far worse still to come. The air crackled with residual chakra as Naruto stood at the epicenter of the distorted radio tower, his breath ragged, his orange jacket singed from the relentless battle. The cursed signal pulsed like a malevolent heartbeat, its wavelengths twisting reality into a nightmarish facsimile of the infinite Tsukuyomi. Around him, the shadows of his friends flickered, trapped in illusions, their faces contorted in silent screams. Sasuke's Sharingan blazed nearby, his Rinnegan straining to counteract the Genjutsu's hold, but even he was faltering, veins bulging at his temples. "We're running out of time," Naruto growled, clenching his fists until his knuckles turned white. The enemy, a rogue Otogakuer scientist fused with the radio tower's core, hovered above, his form a grotesque amalgamation of machinery and flesh, laughing through static-filled vocal cords. "Your resistance is futile. The world will drown in eternal broadcast." Naruto lunged, a golden streak of Kurama's chakra enveloping him as he aimed a Rasengan straight for the core. The scientist countered with a wave of distorted sound, the vibrations shredding the ground beneath them. The impact sent Naruto skidding back, his arms trembling. Sasuke teleported in a blur of black and purple, his sword gleaming as he slashed, only for the blade to phase through the enemy's shifting form. "Physical attacks won't work," Sasuke hissed. "We need to disrupt the signal source." Naruto's mind raced. The tower's antenna loomed above them, crackling with cursed energy. If they could overload it, maybe they could break the Genjutsu. But how? Then, a voice, weak but determined, cut through the chaos. "Naruto." Sasuke. Sakura, her body trembling, had forced herself to her knees, green healing chakra sputtering in her palms. "The signal. It's a Genjutsu layered with medical ninjutsu. It's attacking the brain's auditory cortex." Her words were a lifeline. Naruto's eyes widened. "So if we hit it with the counter frequency, we can cancel it out," Sasuke finished, his Rinnegan spinning furiously. "But they'd need precision, power, and perfect timing." The scientist unleashed another sonic blast, this one aimed at Sakura. Naruto moved without thinking, interposing himself, Kurama's chakra flaring like a shield. The force rattled his bones, but he held firm. "Sasuke, now," he roared. Sasuke's hand shot up, Amino Tejikara swapping their positions in an instant. With a shared nod, they acted as one, Naruto funneling every ounce of Kurama's energy into a colossal Rasen Shuriken, its screeching whirlwind harmonizing with Sasuke's Indra's arrow, crackling with black lightning. Together, they hurled their attacks at the antenna, the combined forces screeching like a dissonant anthem. The explosion was deafening. Light swallowed the battlefield, the tower's structure groaning as the cursed signal shattered into fractals of dissolving chakra. The scientist howled, his form destabilizing, flesh and metal peeling away like rotten bark. "Impossible. This was meant to be," his voice cut off as his body disintegrated into static, then silence. The world lurched. The illusions flickered, then dissolved like mist under the sun. One by one, their friends stirred, Shikamaru gasping as his shadow possession abruptly ended, Hinata's Byakugan clearing as the false visions faded. The radio tower, now a smoldering wreck, collapsed in on itself, its curse finally broken. Naruto dropped to his knees, exhaustion crashing over him. Sasuke wasn't faring much better, his Rinnegan deactivating as he panted. Sakura stumbled toward them, her medical glow flickering but still present. "We did it," she whispered, tears mixing with the dirt on her face. Naruto grinned weakly, though his body screamed in protest. "Yeah. Team effort." In the days that followed, the village reeled from the aftermath. The cursed signal had left scars, some physical, some psychological. But it had also revealed something deeper. The incident forced the five nations to confront the dangers of unchecked technological experimentation with chakra, leading to new treaties and oversight. Naruto, now more than ever, understood the weight of his role as Hokage. Sasuke, too, found himself lingering in the village longer than usual, his wanderings paused as he helped dismantle the remnants of the rogue scientist's work. And as the sun set over Konoha, casting long shadows over the rebuilt radio tower, Now stripped of its cursed tech, Naruto stood atop the Hokage monument, Sasuke at his side. "We've faced a lot of crap," Naruto said, scratching his head. "But this one was weird even for us." Sasuke smirked, just slightly. Next time, leave the radios alone," Naruto laughed, the sound echoing into the twilight, a testament to resilience, to bonds unbroken, and to a future where even the strangest curses couldn't dim their light.